I don't know.
You know, you work at a cafe. How many days a week do you work here?
2.
And do you have any aspirations? What do you want to do with your life?
Oh, I'm trying to be an actor. I want to get into acting as much as possible.
Have you acted before?
No, I haven't actually. It's something I've just always wanted to do. I feel I could be pretty good at it. If, you know.
Theater or Hollywood or what?
Well, probably the silver screen.
So where would you like to be in 10 years from now?
I don't know. I just want to be able to call my own shots. I don't know.
Okay, so here's the space I was telling you about. We figured that we could just put some walls in here, you know, and maybe get the drums in the back over there. And shucks, I don't know. I think the guys will be happy with this.
So kind of a boring day at the old Fantagraphics.
What do you think about the label Generation X? And
I know what you're talking about. I can kind of understand it. I mean, sometimes it seems like everything's already been done for you, and there's you know, nothing new to do, really.
that was Patrick. He was 30.
How did he die?
A brain aneurysm.
Wow.
Patrick's interesting story was he wanted to be a musician so bad that he actually dropped out of UCLA engineering school to be a street musician and actually played the bass on the streets for money.
How successful was he?
He didn't care. He was an artist.
You know, I watched the film last night. I don't remember seeing any of that.
That didn't make it into the documentary.
Fascinating. How did this all start?
About 4 years ago, me and my partner, Richie Posner, decided to investigate the legitimacy of the so-called Gen Xers. And instead of finding slackers with no vision, with no responsibility drifting about, we found artists that just didn't fit as neatly as you and I and the rest of us in the societal puzzle, if you will. But we were basically finished in the editing room. We were about to send it all out, and that's when we heard from the first one, Lisa.
Lisa being the first one who had been killed.
That's correct.
And over the next 3 months, if I understand correctly, 7 out of the 10 that you originally interviewed were also killed.
That's correct.
And this was a totally random occurrence?
Yeah.
In complete random coincidence?
Yeah, they did not know one another.
That's really shocking.
Yeah, well, Richie and I basically had our backs to the wall with what we were going to do about this. We left the project for a week and decided finally that we couldn't ignore it. It was too big, the reality of the coincidence. So we scrapped the original vision and basically shot some new footage and used some old footage, and 2 years later you got the beast called Fate.
Well, let's look at another clip, all right?
Yeah, sure.
Working, living paycheck to paycheck's one of the hardest things I've ever done, but it's also the most worthwhile. I've learned more about myself than I've learned in the past 20 years of going to school. But sometimes
Lisa was the one who was killed in the automobile accident. I was at her funeral, and it turns out her uncle is the conservative senator from Utah.
Orrin
Hatch. Yeah, exactly. And he spoke really eloquent speech, and I guess they had some special bond together, even though they didn't see eye to eye on all the issues, but it was remarkable.
You know, I don't remember seeing any of that.
Yeah, that didn't make it into the documentary.
See, now that fascinates me.
Yeah, it is interesting, isn't it?
I guess what I'm trying to say is that instead of using anything of value or interest from this very tragic coincidence, you have simply superimposed a dedicatory inscription over the image of the deceased.
That's your interpretation of it?
Well, then correct me if I'm wrong, in suggesting that the only difference between your first attempt at this film and The Beast Called Fate is exactly and only the stilled image with the dedicatory inscription tag on it.
One difference you seem to be overlooking rather insensitively is that these kids are not alive, they are dead. They cease to exist. Now maybe, just maybe, we could peek through closed fingers for a moment at this tenuous culture and observe for ourselves. I mean, that's what we're trying to do with this beast called fate. We're hoping that it is the window of a moment.
Well, let's go ahead and roll this final clip. Am I the only one not getting this?
Yeah, should definitely do that.